Today, we're going to talk about who pays your income taxes. Individuals are responsible for paying their income taxes on all income earned in a given calendar year. So at December 31st of every year, if you're single, you file by yourself. If you're married, you have an option to combine your income with your spouse and file using the filing status married filing jointly. Doing so usually provides tax benefits for you and your spouse when analyzing if you would have owed more or saved more if you had filed separately. But for self-employed couples, it can make things a bit more challenging. Think about it this way. If your spouse has a W-2 job and they're paying into the IRS all year via their paycheck, but you're self-employed and generate income, but haven't paid in any tax estimates during the year, you might be in a standoff with your spouse come tax time. If your spouse withheld 20% of their paycheck and paid it right to the IRS, you might be just fine at tax time. You might not owe anything as a couple because your spouse withheld too much and they actually covered not only their own taxes, but also the taxes owed on your business income. Is that fair? Some couples say, sure, it's fair, it's our money, doesn't matter who pays what. Others who have had W-2 jobs all their lives and look forward to their tax refund every year might be in for a not so fun surprise when they find out their refunds are gone forever. Now imagine that your spouse under-withheld and only had 5% of their paycheck paid to the IRS every pay period. So that means a big tax owed at tax time. Some is your spouse's, most of which is probably yours as the business owner who hasn't paid in anything. That leads to an uncomfortable, how much is my tax? How much is your tax conversation. A lot of business owners dream of having their entity be taxed separately from their personal life. But since very few small business owners have their entity set up as a C corporation, that's impossible to do. That's why it takes tax planning to make sure that everyone is paying in their fair share, and also a constant conversation with your spouse so that they understand the way taxes work, and based on what they're having withheld on their paychecks, what that will do at the end of the year. Let's look at the example below. This is a situation where the taxpayer is a W-2 employee and the spouse is self-employed. So the only difference between the two scenarios is that the taxpayer, who pays in taxes with each W-2 paycheck, had a different amount of federal taxes withheld with each paycheck. So that results in very different amounts owed or refunded at tax time. And sure, having less withheld from each paycheck means that you get more take-home pay. But if you're not expecting a tax bill at the end of the year and you don't have the funds to cover the bill, it doesn't really matter if you got more all year and it's gone now. So it's really important to understand what is coming at tax time, and if you're filing with someone, ensuring that you both understand your tax situation and which person is responsible for which portion of the tax. Now, there's a simpler option just to file separately from each other. Keep everyone's income in separate buckets, separate tax return, so that it's nice and clean and you understand who owes what. Sure, you can do that. But that's usually less favorable tax-wise, and in terms of the tax prep fees, you just double those. So that's usually the last resort when you can't compromise on who is paying in taxes and how much. If you found this video helpful, we're real accountants and CPAs who work with hundreds of small business owners just like you every day. Check us out at engagecpas.com to see if we're a good fit for your business. We also have business courses available to help small business owners understand their business. They're for you to learn about your financials, your taxes, how to pick the right entity, tax myths, and everything else about your business. Learn at your own pace. Check those courses out on the Education tab on our website. You can also find us on Instagram at Engage CPAs.